Headingley, after what's been a quiet few days in this Ashes series, we're stood in the Western Terrace, which this time tomorrow will probably be quite a lively place to be sitting to watch this Test match. We all know what happened at Lord's a few days ago with Johnny Bairstow's controversial stumping. Vish, England have arrived here. They've made 3 changes to their team confirmed today. Can you just talk us through them and the thinking behind them?
Yeah, well, I suppose one of them was enforced in a way when Ollie Pope, it was discovered after scans on Monday that he had dislocated his right shoulder. He obviously injured it twice at Lord's in both fielding innings. And rather than drafting Dan Lawrence, who was the only spare batter in the squad that they announced for this third test, they decided to move Harry Brook up there, which meant then Johnny Bairstow will now bat at 5 in the position where he scored all those runs last summer. And they've also drafted in Moeen Ali and Chris Woakes, as much for the combined batting as for the combined bowling as well, because Stokes, having bowled that 12-over spell on day 4 of the Lord's Test and scored that remarkable 155 on day 5, is understandably knackered. This is a short turnaround, only 3 days between tests. And while he said it's not that he's not going to bowl this test, it's just that he clearly wouldn't be able to bowl as much because of that chronic left knee. And so they've decided to bring them in, and I suppose the fourth change, even though it's 3 people coming in, is Mark Wood. Now, his extra pace has been something that, they talked about basically a year ago in terms of having those 3 in Mark Wood, Jofra Archer and Ollie Stone to not even really attack the Australians, but just have a important point of difference. Now, Josh Dung has come in, because of the injuries to Ollie Stone and Jofra Archer, but having bowled a lot at Lord's, and again with the short turnaround, this was the time to reintroduce Mark Wood. And I think on balance, they're probably, for the first time this series in terms of bowling, they have everything they want. And it obviously means that Jimmy Anderson sits out as well, and he's been a bit off, but Stuart Broad will continue and play back-to-back tests, 3 tests in a row, which is remarkable really. So I think by and large, they have what they want. They're probably not in the situation that they want, though.
Australia have been forced to make at least one change as well. Nathan Lyon injuring his calf in the last Test match, ending a run of 100 consecutive Test matches for him. Todd Murphy will come in as a like-for-like replacement off-spinner for off-spinner. Murphy impressed in his first series in India just a few months ago, where he bowled particularly well. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. England will no doubt look to attack him first up, both as a young player in the side, and also that's just the way they've been playing. They took Nathan Lyon for 4 and over before his injury. The other change that they might make is in the fast bowling attack. There's a debate to be had whether they want to push Josh Hazlewood through for 3 consecutive Test matches. The Lord's game was the first time he played back-to-back tests in 3 years, so they'll need to weigh up the risks. Of course, they can wrap up the Ashes this week, but there are 2 more Test matches to come, which carry World Test Championship points in Australia, the defending champions there, so they certainly won't be dead Test matches even if the Ashes is done this week. But the fact that the Ashes can be done this week is almost one storyline that's gone under the radar in the last 72 hours because what's happened at Lord's. And it really has been a tremendously successful trip for Australia so far. They beat India, of course, to take the world title, then have won the first 2 Test matches of this series, albeit by very, very narrow margins. And Australia are aware of that. They don't believe they've played their best game of cricket yet. They'll have to confront what will certainly be a hostile atmosphere, at least for the first couple of days, while the residual effects of that stumping play out, however they do here at Headingley. Vish, I guess the fundamental final question is, how will England react to what happened at Lord's? Can they channel it? And can they keep the series alive?
I think they can channel it in terms of the public appeal, really. And the fact that we're in the Western Terrace is probably important because I feel like it will have quite a big part to play going into this test. One of the things that really came to the fore last summer, and is the reason why when Ben Stokes said in his press conference, he doesn't want to talk like this, but if England do lose the Ashes, that's obviously not great, but they're not going to stop playing the way they're doing because of the success they've had. And that success has primarily come from bringing more people to the game and more people at the games being more engaged. Now, because of what's happened at Lord's, not just this stand, but all around it, people online, people watching at home, there is a real sense of do or die to this fixture. So really, all England need to do, all the players need to do is stay level, play the cricket that they played last summer, played at a ground where just generally things seem to happen in funky ways, and we're not even just talking about Ashes here. And basically let that carry them forward. I think it's helped that it's been a short turnaround. I think the long turnaround from Edgbaston to Lords, where they played 5 days of pretty exemplary cricket from England's point of view, that gap was a little too long. And I think now, because of this, I think it's helpful that the dialogue, or rather the conversation, only has so much more time to go. And certainly when you speak to them in and around and on and off the record, there is a real sense that they know how important this game is. As much as they started this out with saying that results are not important, every single person in that dressing room is aware that they need to come good, and they need to come good in a big way over the next 5 days.
Well, as Vish said, this ground has a habit of making things happen. Extraordinary events have taken place, of course, just 4 years ago with Ben Stokes' innings. It feels like we've said it every day of this series so far, but you won't be able to take your eyes off it here at Headingley.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.